G'day and welcome to Isol8, 8 Songs of Meaning podcast. Isol8 is about bringing you a unique conversation from a special guest who is a touring artist or touring roadie. I wanted to shine a light on the talented people of the arts to find out some of their most personal musical highlights and the stories behind them. The flow-on effect of COVID-19 has meant cancellations of large music festivals as well as your favourite local gigs. As a result, an estimated 500,000 people in Australia in the music industry are currently out of work. Support Act is a charity that assists financially when the industry falls on difficult times such as this. If you enjoy the podcast today, I encourage you to make a donation if you're in a position to do so. As well as musicians, there are many people behind the scenes who make gigs happen. The sound engineer, the tour manager, the lighting designer and more. They all play a pivotal role to ensure that we as punters enjoy the best possible performance night after night. It's important to remember that these uncertain times will pass. The shows will go on, and these wonderful creative people will get back to doing what they love. So, let's meet the people behind the musical magic. My guest this week is Ian Kenny. Kenny is an Australian musician, best known as the vocalist in his multiple ARIA Award winning bands, progressive rock masters Karnivool and modern pop rockers Birds of Tokyo. Kenny has toured in most continents of the world and has spent more than 20 years on the road. His bands have shared the stage with artists such as the Deftones, Chisel, Muse, just to name a few. Currently at home in Perth, Kenny was kind enough to share his time with us today to give us his Isol8, 8 Songs of Meaning. Please welcome Kenny. Yes!
Hey!
How are you?
I'm good, getting through the weird, as we were just talking about before.
Yeah.
So getting through the weird, staying at home, doing my thing.
Yeah, and are you feeling isolated, in isolation?
Really am, yeah. It's been a strange thing, like for, we were just saying that before, like I'm missing the whole social thing, going out and seeing friends, extended family, hitting the pub, just doing the norm. All pretty much had 3 tours kind of put on hold or cancelled. So, I'm home and I'm in the house a lot, and I'm just, there's no horizon of flying anywhere to go play any shows. So it's just a strange time for everyone, man. Weird times.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I've got a couple of questions that I'm going to ask you just before we get into the main part of it. Now, since everyone's stuck in isolation, I've decided that everyone needs to have a quarantini. Now, I was just wondering, what's your quarantini? What's your isolation drink?
I've been drinking a hell of a lot of beer since I've been in the house.
Awesome.
Like a hell of a lot of beer.
Mm-hmm.
More than I normally do, because it's just pretty chill, just hanging out. And it comes, I don't know, it's got to be the same way for everyone. Yeah. It comes till about, 5 or 6 o'clock.
Oh, you're going that late. I'm thinking about 3 o'clock.
5 or 6 o'clock, you're still in your pajamas. You're like, hey, I'm having a beer.
I think it's fine. I don't see a problem with this.
No, that's totally fine. It's totally normal in the new normal.
Exactly. That's it. Let's talk about Cog another time. Now, what is your favourite isolation snack, or perhaps a snack that you have on the road that's always in your backpack or you have in the tour van, something like that?
Well, our favourite snack so far in ISO is nachos. I love nachos. I'll eat nachos 3 times a day.
That's a pretty, detailed, you can't make nachos easily. You need to have a few things,
Yeah, and that's the thing. I like making them. I like sort of going through the layers, starting the base with your corn chips and then your chunks of cheese, and I get into my jalapenos. I try and make them as hot as I can.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yum.
Now, the next...
They don't go well in backpacks, though.
I was going to say, this is definitely...
a mess.
This is not a tour snack that I support. This is going to be a bad time in the car. Now, another one we're going to let our listeners know is that obviously we are friends. We have known each other for some time.
Long time.
Yeah, I've done my other episode that I've done. I asked the person how we met. So, and he didn't remember, which kind of bombed it a little bit. But do you recall either when we met or just maybe, feel free to roast me here, any early memories of each other?
Well, we would have met in and around Collier.
Yes. So for those who are out there, we went to the same primary school. So.
Yeah, so that and to be honest, that's a stretch. Like I have vague memories of it, but we would have.
Yeah.
And then sort of fast forward, a bunch of years. This is going back like
I know.
10 more years. Applying for a rental, and you were handling the property. Yeah.
That's right. Oh my God, I actually forgot about that. So there you go.
Yeah.
For those out there, I have a real job in real estate, and that's my secret life. Yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about that. Actually, that's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna get stuck into the Isol8, the 8 songs now. Although I think we've chosen 9 because we're terrible at picking just one. Now, my first question that I had for you: what was the first song or album that you ever purchased, like piece of music?
The first record I bought in Myers in the city in Perth.
Yeah. Which is a large department store for those who aren't aware.
Sure is. In 92.
Wow.
End of 92, I bought Nevermind by Nirvana.
Oh, absolute banger.
And it shifted my world. It really did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it do you remember if it was a CD that you bought, or was it a vinyl?
CD.
Yeah.
Yeah, CD with that classic blue artwork of the baby in the pool chasing that dollar bill or whatever it is at the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good.
Awesome.
So good.
Did you have a prize track off the album that you loved?
Yeah, well, the first track I came across was In Bloom.
Oh, here's the one.
Yeah, and I still just love that song, man. It's just the best.
It is.
But, clearly Smells Like Teen Spirit was getting thrashed all around the place. I'm late to everything. I'm always the last
to find out.
Yeah, everything. So, yeah, but In Bloom, just an absolute banger.
Yeah, it is. Produced by Butch Vig, the album came out in September of 91. And as you know, you and I both have a very deep affinity for Nirvana. I feel like we could just do the whole podcast on Nirvana and sing along to everything, but I'll move on.
I'm pretty sure I've seen you air drum the whole record. I'm pretty sure I've seen that.
Yeah. That is true. I'll let that one out there. That is true. I can. I don't know how good or accurate I am, but I definitely have had a few drinks.
Air drum. Shit out.
Look, I could equally air drum probably In Utero, Bleach to a lesser extent because it's more of a muddier album. But thanks. I think that's actually a compliment.
Yeah, I actually think In Utero is more of a fun air drum record.
Yeah, actually, I would agree with that. Yeah,
sure.
I love Nirvana so much. Like, I have to get off the topic because otherwise I'll go on all night. What was the first ever gig that you went to? I suppose either that you were dragged to, but probably the one that you chose yourself.
The one that I chose myself, I think me and my brother went when we were just teenage punks. It would have been Silverchair, Everclear, Body Jar, and Jebediah at the Centre of Perth.
I need to tell you something. This was my first gig too.
Really?
Yeah, dead set. Seriously. Yeah, it was Silverchair, Everclear, Body Jar, and Ammonia, I think. Or who did you say?
Ammonia, Jebediah were there.
Jebediah, sorry. I thought Ammonia, yeah. And it was at the Entertainment Centre.
Yeah.
It was the 26th September, 1996, perhaps, or 97. Must have been 97 because the record had come out. Yes. But no, maybe it's 96. That was mine as well. That was mine.
Yeah. So and I reckon that would have been like for anybody, any of the kids in Perth who were into of our time, like who were into grunge rock, were at that show. It was sick. Yeah.
Totally. And you picked a song. So your favourite song from that band of that era, you've chosen Israels Son off the Frog Stomp album, which came out in 1995. What was it about that track that just grabbed you?
At the time, I just thought it was one of the heaviest kind of Aussie rock things happening, and I was just so spellbound about, what Silverchair looked like in Headlights to me. And I was just like, wow, they're just like the best thing, and they just sounded like a band way bigger than anything I'd heard from Australia, only because it was just in my zone, in my pocket. So They were huge. They were awesome. I probably would have gone from that gig. I could have gone with Heroin Girl by.
I love that song. I used
Clear,
to know a girl. She had two pierced nipples and a black tattoo. We drink that Mexican beer. We live on Mexican food. I wish I could go back. Get back in town. Yeah, that's an absolute banger as well.
You know it.
Oh, yeah. It's so good. I can't believe we're at the same show. Well, actually, of course I can believe it because we go to all the same shows, but that's amazing. Because I was like, I think I was about 12 or 13, and I was in the seats because I had to get my cousin to take me because I was too young to go. My mum wouldn't take me. I just thought it was...
Same. We were in seats, yeah.
And I think I wore, like, army pants and, like... and a midriff top because that was the cool thing with like big heavy combat boots. It was so awesome. I thought it was so cool.
Me and my brother just rocked up in like Wildcats tracksuits, just matching. Like,
matching? Oh my God. And you would have been all tall and awkward too.
Still am tall and awkward.
Blocking the view for all us short people. Thanks a lot. Speaking of being a kid, who would you say was your biggest influence on you musically when you were younger?
It would probably came from the home. It'd be, a bit of a mix between mum and dad, I reckon. Mum played a lot of kind of female singers and a whole bunch of stuff like the Eurythmics.
Awesome.
And stuff like that with Annie Lennox, and I just thought it was super cool.
Yeah. Did you have a prize track of theirs that you loved?
Probably Sweet Dreams. Yeah.
Great
it's just iconic. It's a classic.
Sweet Dreams are made
and then Dad turning me on to things like Creedence, Clearwater and stuff a little later on. Which was the first time I heard John Fogerty and how he wrote and what he did with songs. I was just like, wow. It was so weird. I didn't know what to make of that stuff. I didn't realise how sort of much there was to CCR. I still think they're awesome.
Yeah, they're amazing songwriters. I did a bit of research. Fortunate Son came out in 1969. And
really?
Yeah, which blew my mind. It's off an album called Willie and the Poor Boys, which blew my mind because the songs... I mean, I listened to Fortunate Son, which is the song that you chose, but, a few other tracks came on. I'm like, it's so timeless. You would never have picked the year that this came out. He's a genius, that guy, John Fogerty.
Killer songwriter.
Sweet Dreams came out in 1983, which I think that's pretty typical of the era and the sound of it. But that song has been covered so many times by so many different people. Did you dig the Marilyn Manson version? Did you ever hear that?
I did, yeah.
Did you dig it?
Yeah, I did. Actually, I like it. I actually really think I really like a lot of what Manson does. He's actually a pretty cool artist, I reckon.
Yeah, he's cool. All right. Now, you are quite an iconic person, particularly in Australia, and a lot of other musicians, I'd say, would call you a big influence on them. Was there a moment where you knew that, being an artist was going to be your career and your path?
I think I was always so into music from a young age, and I had this kind of loose ideas about what it would be to be a performer or whatever, but I didn't think I took it seriously until maybe I got out of high school, because I played in a bunch of bands in high school and kind of had an idea, and that sort of formed into, hey, I really wanted to work at this and, make this a thing. Yeah. So sometime, after high school.
Was there a song or a band that really solidified that?
Yeah, Soundgarden.
Oh, banger. Great band.
For sure. And Super Unknown just ripped my head off. It ripped my head apart.
Yeah.
And that sort of came out at the time I was graduating, or maybe slightly.
It came out in 1994, Super Unknown.
So just before, So, so what a record.
Yeah, there's a lot of bangers on there. Black Hole Sun, obviously, is off that one. And the song that you chose was Fell on Black Days, which is more of I would say it's probably a more mellower track compared to some of the others on the album.
Yeah, I just love it. I love how kind of it's a bit cold and a bit alone, but then it kind of really surges and charges home at the end. And Cornell's vocals are just off the chart.
Oh, I love him. The fact that he's no longer here anymore is an absolute tragedy. But he left us with some beautiful, beautiful music, and I'm very thankful that we all get to enjoy that still. Now, moving on, your favourite tour or tour moment? Is there a song that relates back to that?
A tour moment? Probably one of my favourite tours that we did, as you mentioned at the start of this, would be Muse, only because at the time Birds were touring with them, and I'm pretty sure across the board, across all five of us, we are just huge fans of that band and have been since day dot. So it really was a bit of a dream tour.
Do you remember what year this was? And was this was in Australia, wasn't it?
This is an Australian tour. Ooh, this is going back about 5 years.
Am I pushing you?
5 years.
Okay. So 2015?
Yeah. I'm going to say yeah.
We might have to Google that one. Okay.
15. Maybe it was start of 16. I can't remember. But the track that sort of opened me to Muse was Plug In Baby. I don't think I heard anything like that come out of the gates and sort of hit me in the face like that. So just an incredible band. I think Matt Bellamy's such an incredible writer, and for a three-piece, they just hold it down. Like, they're just such a big sounding band.
Did you fanboy? Did you have a moment, or were you pretty cool when you met them?
I think I tried to be cool, and in my mind, when I look at those situations where I get to meet some, heroes and whatnot, in my mind, when I look back, and to me, I go, yeah, I hadn't been that cool. I was cool. That means I wasn't. That means I was like, I was just cracking up, and I've never been good at those situations, but they were lovely. They were super cool.
I think there was only one moment where I lost my shit proverbially, is when I met Chino from the Deftones. Oh my god! I literally was just standing there like, hi. I didn't know what to say. It was so bad. But other than that, I've been pretty good. Now, my next question for you. Now, I guess you're a rock guy. Would you say you're a rock guy or a metal guy?
Well, yeah. If you compare the two, I feel more rock.
Yes. Okay. So if I was gonna say, show me an absolute banger, but not your genre, something completely different, what would you choose?
Well, there's a track that I've been listening to called Run by Joji, who is he's a Japanese artist, but he's also he's a singer, songwriter, performer, comic, actor. He's a bit of
so I did look him up. I looked up a little bit of info on him. All I could see was that, yes, he was from Osaka. This track that you've chosen, Run, only came out this year in February, so it's very fresh.
Right.
How did you find him?
I think I picked him up on the Jays, I reckon. And I'm loving, man, he's so cool. I'm loving access to Shazam. Anything that comes on the radio, I'm just like, boom. And that's how and that's how I sort of find new stuff. But he's just awesome. He's got this other track called Dancing in the Dark, and he's pretty fascinating. I think he kind of got his light through as a comedian. So
he was on Jimmy Fallon recently.
There's a hell of a lot to it. He's cool.
I did listen to the track. It reminds me of a bit of a James Blake kind of vibe. Would you agree with that? Yeah, I dig that sort of shit too. Now, in the tour van, you've obviously spent many hours, many years probably of your life in a tour van. Is there a track that's your favourite tour van tune?
Shitty Future by the Bronx. Yeah.
Is there a story behind this?
There would be many stories, but this track, the Bronx, they're just an favourite band. I don't know of all time, but
I was going to say they're up there for you.
They are up there for sure. Yeah, I've seen them play a bunch, and they're just
have you toured with them, or you've just seen them play?
Just seen them play. Yeah. And Shitty Future is one of those songs that comes on the playlist when you're driving back from a show. Everyone's had a few drinks and it's getting a bit rowdy in the van. That song, I guarantee that song comes on. Yeah.
They are an LA punk band. The song that you chose, Shitty Future, came out in 2006 from their self-titled album. You actually are the one that told me about this band. And they just seem like a fun, party, good time type of a vibe. Like, I feel like you'd put them on and it would always be a good time.
Yeah. They're awesome, and they kick ass live. I mean, that record is probably my favourite of all 6 or 7 that they've done. And Matt, the frontman, he's just a party.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's a good time.
Awesome. Now we're obviously in the time of the Rona right now. A lot of our mutual friends and 500,000 people in the music industry in Australia are out of work, which is a huge tragedy, and it's, I guess, I feel like everybody's in the same boat, but it's really tough. And I imagine that everybody is struggling with either anxiety, depression, feeling uncertain about how the future's going to look. So I asked you to pick a track that has either pulled you out of dark times or been a bit of a strength anthem for you. What did you choose?
I picked Eyeless by Slipknot.
Now, this is actually a surprise pick because this is a very, people who, if people don't know who Slipknot are, they are a very, I guess you would call them a dark band. They wear masks. Their music is very heavy. It's, I guess, it's a bit of new metal, but I guess it's just more metal, straight up metal.
It's both.
It's both. Apologies to the metal purists out there because I probably don't know my subgenres very well, but the track Eyeless came off the 1999 released album, which was produced by Ross Robertson, who I think most metal fans would probably know. Ross is like a famous producer who's done Korn, Limp Bizkit, Deftones at the Drive-In. He's produced probably some of the biggest metal albums of our time. What was it about this track Eyeless or this album that sort of brings you out of the shit?
Well, I think it's more about whenever I feel I'm in the shit or going through the shit, I don't really seem to gravitate to, the sort of more melancholy, downtrodden, sad sort of songs and spaces you can go to get relief, and that's great. A lot of people do. I go the other way to some really hard, confronting metal, only because it kind of just gears you up and I don't know, makes you charge a bit harder and gives you a bit of armour against the shit that's going on. And I just think, to be honest, I don't even know what the song's really about, Eyeless, but it's just got such like a fuck you about it. Like
I think he says fuck you quite a few times. I'm pretty sure he does.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure he does. And it's just one of the heaviest tracks. I just think it's powerful, and I think in times like that when we're feeling a bit overwhelmed and a bit uncertain, just reach for whatever you find powerful and use it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Now, a couple of little, we're getting towards the tail end now. I've just got a couple of rapid fire little questions. So I'm just going to shoot sort of 2 names at you, and you just got to pick one or the other. Don't think about it too much. I may or may not quiz you on it afterwards, depending on your answers. Okay.
Cool.
Ready? Oasis or Blur?
Blur.
Really? Okay, I need to know why, because everyone else says Oasis.
Tough call. Super, like 2 amazing bands. So that's a really tough call.
I know.
But I would say I'm a Blur fan, like through and through. So love Blur, love them. So
they are incredible.
But then again, Oasis have wrote some incredible music as well. So tough call.
Yeah. Okay, Metallica or Pantera?
Pantera. Pantera for sure. I kind of missed the Metallica thing. I've actually only found an appreciation for them later on down the track. I think I had my head buried in all the grunge stuff when Metallica were doing their thing. I don't know.
I think Metallica was kind of before the grunge thing as well. I guess you kind of either rode the hair metal, the hair rock wave, or you kind of went for the grunge and new metal thing. All right.
Yeah.
Next one is Kendrick or Kanye.
Oh, tough. Kanye?
Ooh, see, you're actually picking other ones that most people don't pick, which is interesting. Do you have, is there a reason? Is there something that's pulling you more towards the Kanye?
Oh, he's just a bit cooked. He's a bit out there, I reckon. He's such an interesting artist.
He is, yeah.
I kind of get drawn into his world, and I don't know how good or how right it is, but I do like a lot of the music the dude makes, and my twisted, beautiful, dark fantasy. I
love that
so
album.
Good.
All of the lights.
It's so good. Although Kenny is a bit of on a different level. He's just a bit of a wizard.
Yeah, he is.
So just hardcore.
Kanye for you. All right. Biggie or Tupac?
Biggie.
Okay, there you go. So you're on the East Coast.
Oh, yeah. Which is weird because I'm on the West Coast. I should have gone Tupac, but hey.
Look, you love... it's just an instinct. Like it's a call that I want you to make in that moment. So you go with Biggie. I'm okay with that. All right, the next one is Katy Perry or Taylor Swift.
I don't care.
It's funny. My last guest said the same thing. He was like, I don't really know either of them.
Yeah, don't know.
Don't skip. Don't care.
I don't.
Not enough information. Okay.
Yeah.
AC/DC or Cold Chisel.
Oh man, these are tough calls. AC/DC.
We won't pretend that you just came off tour with Cold Chisel.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. There's no slag on them. I think I've just lived with AC/DC longer. Yeah. They really had incredible band. Both incredible bands.
Do you have a favorite track, AC/DC track, that's your absolute banger?
Back in Black
Yeah.
is just a go-to. I actually did. I haven't done it in a long time, but when years ago I used to sort of listen to a lot of music in the car.
Yeah.
And I would just go for an AC/DC week. So every time I was in the car, it was just...
Were you really angry that week? Or?
No, I was just cruising around, just listening to AC/DC. It's actually funny, there's a dude who lives in my neighbourhood, and he's got an AC/DC car. It's a Mitsubishi Red Lancer with a AC/DC decal all around it. He's got... I think it's one of the covers of the record, and he gets out every now and then, and I see him around the shops. He's got this mullet. And he goes around just windows down, cranking AC/DC everywhere he goes.
I love this. I love this.
Yeah. He's in Maylands. If you're in Maylands, check him out. Oh, he brings such joy. Oh,
that's good. I'm glad there's people like that in the world, especially right now, because I feel like the world needs AC/DC lovers. Did you go to the Highway to Hell thing that they had recently? Did you? I didn't. I missed it. I think I was away or something. There was
No, I didn't go.
They had this thing. Did you know what it was? They blocked off a whole highway in Perth, and then they had all these bands playing AC/DC covers down the back of a truck down Canning Highway in Perth, for those who don't know.
Yeah.
Apparently it was amazing. All right, now the last one. This is a big one. Okay, get ready. Crowded House or Split Ends?
Oh, Crowded House.
Okay, now, and you have to pick a song. You have to pick one of their absolute bangers that you love. Because they are probably, I think they're probably two of the greatest songwriters of all time, Tim Finn and Neil Finn. And I was telling on the last episode that I was on a tour to the Great Ocean Road. I'm assuming you've been down the Great Ocean Road in Victoria, from Melbourne to Warrnambool. And we were in a little tour bus. There was 12 of us with my ex, and the only CD they had in the van was the Crowded House Greatest Hits. And I was beside myself. I was so happy. So, and it's me, my ex, some Chinese tourists, and a couple of Germans. So I put them on.
What a party.
I literally sang the whole album the whole way back. And then when we got back to Melbourne, my ex was so angry. He was like, "Why'd you sing the whole way home?" I was like, "Excuse me? It's Crowded House. I was educating everyone. You're welcome."
That's what I do.
So rude. What's your favourite Crowded House track, if you could pick one?
6 months in a leaky boat.
Oh, really? I spent 6 months in a leaky boat. That's your favourite?
Yeah, I find there's something quite charming and kind of kooky about that song. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And I agree that, Neil's just, I don't know, Neil Tim, yeah. Neil's just such an amazing songwriter.
Yeah, they're incredible.
How do you do all that? Like, what?
I don't know. All right, bonus question. Is there a song that you've ever, like you've sung, not on stage, I'm talking in general life, where you've got the lyrics wrong, but you've just fully committed, you always thought the lyrics were that, and then someone's corrected you and you've realised that you've had the lyrics wrong the whole time?
Pretty much every song outside the ones I've written. Ever.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure there's been times where we've sung Nirvana and I've had to correct you multiple times.
I'm a shocker for it. Eh? I'm the worst. I actually think, where did I read this? I think when you hear a melody and lyrics come at you and your brain gets the melody but interprets the lyrics differently. I think it's called mondegreening.
It is called mondegreening. Yes, that's right.
There you go.
So you knew that. That was gonna be my little pop quiz if you knew what that was, but you got it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So there you go. So yeah, I mean, I do it all the time, and then like years later, someone will be singing it, and I'll be like, "Is that what the lyrics are?" Man, I've been singing this.
It happened. Did I tell you this? It happened to me with the Stone Roses recently.
Right.
Like in the last year, that song, "I Want to Be Adored." Have you heard that song?
Yeah.
I thought it was "I Want to Be Your Dog," like for years. And now, I swear to God, if you put it on, you will never be able to unhear it. "I want to be your dog." Seriously.
Yeah.
But then I realised there's actually some other song called "I Want to Be Your Dog." I think it's like a punk, like a Sex Pistols type of vibe. Anyway, that's the only one that I think I've fucked up, because I like to think that I'm perfect and know the lyrics all the time from buying Smash Hits magazine and reading the lyric sheets.
Cool. Yep.
Now we've reached the end of all the questions. I was going to mention Support Act, which I did talk about a little bit in the introduction. I know that you're on board with what Support Act do and how important they are to musicians and artists and road crew in Australia. The whole point of this podcast was that I wanted to raise awareness, and hopefully some of the listeners will want to donate to Support Act. Have you done some work with them recently? I think I saw a video online that you did.
Yeah, I'm always we've been involved to a point where just sort of putting a face and a name to a cause. Support Act. They are such a great cause. They're really a great platform for helping out the Oz industry, and have been there for quite some time, helping out the guys behind the guys, right down to crew and whatnot. And at the moment, due to this COVID-19 thing and the fact that the public space bans and the numbers that go with that, a lot of the industry has just ground to a halt. Yeah. It really has, and some of these venue operators and promoters, festival promoters, right down to crew, it's all just sort of stopped for them. So they've lost income, and it's heavy. It's so heavy. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah. And that's the whole reason I did want to do something. I know it's only a small thing, but to I'm planning to speak to a lot of, hopefully, the road crew themselves, because I just think people don't understand quite what these people do and just how committed they are to, bringing the shows that we love so much. So, Support Act. Everyone, throw your dollars their way if you can. Now, before you go, obviously you're going to have a little bit of time off. We don't know how much time off we're going to be having, but Birds is obviously in an album cycle. You guys, Human Design, coming out very soon.
Coming out on April 24.
Ooh, that's really soon. That's in like 2 weeks.
So soon.
Yes.
So yeah, Birds have new music coming out, which is awesome.
Wicked.
I am in and out of the studio with the Karnivool lads working on some new stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're just going to have to figure out how to do it from separate places for a while. You know, ISO, it's like so weird.
Yeah, it is weird. I feel like Birds are probably accustomed to it because I think you guys have lived kind of all over the place for a little while. You guys are kind of used to it, but I saw the Karnivool Sound Awake 10-year, is that what it is, tour?
Yeah, the decade tour for Sound Awake, which we had ready for April, which of course had been, moved.
So everything's been bumped,
everything's been pushed, so we're going to hit that again in September.
Yep.
Which is going to be awesome, but God, that sounds far away.
I know.
September.
Well, hopefully it's going to go super fast because I know everybody out there is, well, particularly, the heavy fans that are listening are just hanging. Karnivool fans are such committed, obsessive people, and I love that you guys have that sort of following. I think that's so awesome. I mean, I count myself in that too. All right, well, Kenny, I will let you go for tonight. Thank you so much for being part of Isol8. You've chosen some awesome tracks. I'm sure everybody's going to love it. It's going to be up on the Spotify playlist, if I can talk at all. So using Spotify is also a great way. If you're not able to contribute to Support Act, you can stream your favourite artists on Spotify and they will get, maybe 4 cents or something. But hey, every little bit counts, I think. So thank you, Kenny. Much gratitude. I'm so thankful that you could be part of it. So thank you so much.
My pleasure, buddy.
Alrighty.